Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the darkest corners of the unknown, exploring the tales that send shivers down your spine. Tonight we embark on a journey into the heart of deserted fire dungeons, those hollow remnants of bravery and sacrifice, now claimed by shadows and whispers. We bring you three spine-chilling stories, each a chilling glimpse into the ethereal realm where ghostly figures roam. Turn off the lights, turn up the volume, and prepare to be terrified, for the spirits of the fire dungeon are listening. The air hung heavy with the ghosts of smoke and sacrifice in the abandoned firehouse. Dust motes danced in the faint moonlight, filtering through grimy windows, illuminating faded murals of heroic rescues on the brick walls. Captain Michael Riley, a veteran with nerves of steel, felt a chill crawl down his spine as he stepped through the doorway. He wasn't one for spooky stories, but this place, it hummed with a strange energy. The city was repurposing the old station into a community center, and Michael had drawn the short straw, volunteering to check the building after a recent storm. His footsteps echoed in the cavernous space, the silence broken only by the creak of rusted equipment and the drip, drip, drip of water from a leaky pipe. He could almost hear the clang of the alarm bell, the scramble of boots on the concrete floor, the roar of the engine as it raced off into the night. He reached the locker room, its metal doors dented and scratched with time. A single bulb flickered overhead, casting long, dancing shadows. As he passed beneath it, Michael could have sworn he saw a figure standing at the far end of the room, a silhouette shrouded in darkness. "Hello?" Michael's voice echoed strangely in the silence. The figure didn't move. He took a step closer, his hand instinctively reaching for the flashlight clipped to his belt. The air grew colder, the hairs on the back of his neck prickling with unease. "Who's there?" he called out again, his voice firmer this time. Still there was no response, only the oppressive silence and the sense of being watched. He shone his flashlight down the hallway, but the beam revealed nothing but dust and cobwebs. He hurried through the rest of his inspection, his senses on high alert. Every creak and groan of the old building sent a jolt of adrenaline through him. As he made his way back towards the exit, he passed the locker room again. This time he could have sworn he heard a faint whisper, a sigh carried on the breeze that seemed to emanate from the very spot where he had seen the shadowy figure. Bursting out into the night air, he sucked in a deep lungful of fresh air, his chest heaving. He never went back inside the old firehouse, the memory of that night forever etched in his mind. The old fire dungeon stood at the edge of town, a brooding monolith of crumbling brick and shattered glass. It had been abandoned for decades, a forgotten relic of a bygone era. For a group of thrill-seeking friends, it was the perfect spot for a night of urban exploration. Armed with flashlights, cameras, and a healthy dose of bravado, they pried open the creaking doors and stepped inside. The air inside was stale and thick with the scent of decay, a musty blend of dust and mildew. The darkness was absolute, swallowing their flashlight beams whole. As they ventured deeper into the building, their voices echoed strangely in the vast emptiness. The leader of the group, Jake, a tall, lanky young man with an infectious grin, pointed his flashlight at a faded mural on the wall depicting firemen battling a raging inferno. "Can you imagine what it must have been like?" he whispered, his voice tinged with awe. "The heat, the smoke, the adrenaline." "Yeah, well, I'm sure it wasn't as creepy as this place," chimed in Emily, her voice trembling slightly. She clutched her boyfriend Mark's arm nervously. He squeezed her hand reassuringly, but even he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. They continued their exploration, their footsteps echoing in the silence. They found the old fire engine bay, the trucks long gone, leaving behind only ghostly outlines on the dusty floor. As they moved through the building, the temperature seemed to drop. A cold draft swirled around them, raising goosebumps on their arms. "Did you guys feel that?" whispered Sarah, her voice barely a whisper. The others nodded, their faces pale in the flickering flashlight beams. They pressed on, their initial excitement giving way to an unnerving sense of dread. They reached the dormitory, the rows of bunks empty and covered in a thick layer of dust. As they shone their flashlights around the room, they noticed something strange. One of the lockers at the far end of the room stood slightly ajar. Curious, they approached it cautiously. Jake slowly pushed the locker door open the rest of the way, revealing a glimpse of darkness within. He shone his flashlight inside, but the beam was swallowed by the blackness. Suddenly, the locker door slammed shut with a resounding bang, plunging them into darkness. Screams erupted from the group as they stumbled back in terror. "What was that?" shrieked Emily, her voice high with panic. They fumbled for their flashlights, their hearts pounding in their chests. As their beams flickered back to life, they saw that the locker door was once again slightly ajar, but this time something was different. Dr. Evelyn Wright, a renowned paranormal investigator, adjusted her thick-rimmed glasses, her gaze sweeping over the dilapidated facade of the old fire dungeon. Years of neglect had taken their toll, leaving the building scarred and weathered, a testament to time's relentless march. Evelyn, however, saw more than just decay. She saw a history etched in stone and ash, a story whispering to be told. This wasn't just any abandoned building, it was a repository of energy, a magnet for the unexplained. Local legends spoke of the fire dungeon being cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who perished within its walls. Evelyn, a woman of science and skepticism, approached these tales with a healthy dose of caution, but also with an unquenchable thirst for the truth. Armed with her EMF reader, thermal camera, and an arsenal of recording equipment, she stepped across the threshold, ready to confront the darkness that lay within. The air inside was heavy with the scent of dampness and decay, a musty aroma that spoke of years of neglect. Dust motes danced in the faint beams of her flashlight, illuminating the skeletal remains of furniture and forgotten equipment. Evelyn, unfazed by the oppressive atmosphere, methodically set up her equipment, her senses on high alert. She began her investigation in the main hall, where the echoes of countless alarms and frantic shouts seemed to linger in the very air. Her EMF reader crackled to life, its needle spiking erratically as she passed by a particular section of wall. Intrigued, she paused, her eyes scanning the area, her breath catching in her throat as she noticed a faint inscription etched into the brickwork. It was barely visible beneath layers of grime and time, but as she brushed away the dust, the words became clear. "For they shall rise again, consumed by the flames of their sacrifice." A shiver ran down Evelyn's spine as the inscription resonated with the stories she had heard, tales of a fire that had claimed the lives of several firefighters, their souls forever bound to the building that had been both their sanctuary and their tomb. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, Evelyn ventured deeper into the fire dungeon, following the trail of cold spots and electromagnetic anomalies. She reached the dormitory, where the firemen once slept, their dreams haunted by the specter of the next alarm. Here her thermal camera picked up an intriguing reading, a distinct cold spot in the shape of a human form lying on one of the rusted bunks. The air grew heavy, the temperature plummeting as Evelyn approached the cold spot. She felt a presence, an unseen observer watching her every move. Whispering a silent prayer for respect and understanding, she reached out with her senses, attempting to communicate with whatever lingered in this place. A low moan seemed to reverberate through the room, a sound filled with sorrow and a deep-seated anger. Evelyn, her heart pounding in her chest, pressed on, her voice barely a whisper as she spoke to the unseen entity. "I hear you," she said, her voice filled with empathy. "Tell me your story, help me understand." The room remained silent for a moment, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Then, as if in response to her plea, a series of images flashed through Evelyn's mind. The roar of the fire, the desperate struggle for survival, the searing pain of flames and the crushing weight of falling debris. Thank you for joining us on this chilling exploration of deserted fire dungeons and the ghostly figures that reside within. If these tales of terror sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a chilling tale. We're dying to hear your thoughts on these stories and any encounters you might have had with the supernatural. Share your own spine-tingling experiences in the comments below. Until next time, keep the lights on, your guard up, and remember, the darkness is always listening.